All right, folks, welcome to Shoota Dev. My name is Bronx Mike, and today we are gonna cover what we actually the shooting and destruction and stuff, right? So the last time we had a bug with the system where thereby the the projectiles weren't transforming correctly, being either rotation and or the placement of it, right? So we're going to cover that right now, and then after that, we're going to cover destruction of the enemy, and maybe some sound, not sound, but special effects. And then once we're done with that, we could on the next video we could cover the sound, the object pooling for the enemies, because we're going to object pool the enemies as well, right? So that way we could just keep reusing the same thing over and over again, and makes the user think we have a big huge world, and then we could do it like Vampire Survivor. If you want to make a roguelike, you can make a roguelike. If you don't have to, but we'll cover all those bases as well and make sure that everything is working correctly. Okay, so the last time, if you take a look at our screen, right, the last time the projectiles were coming out here in the middle of it, in the middle of the thing. It didn't matter. And so the reason why was because we used, let me bring this up. We was using, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Okay. We was using, let me see. There we go. We was using fade. We was using transform. So, okay. Let's do this, right? We'll recreate the bug, right? And then we was using transform position. Oh, come on. We was using transform position equals start position, right? And then we was, so what that did was, if you take a look over here, was place the projectile right in the middle on the bottom, and so it wasn't interpolating correctly, right? Because we are using rigid body, so that was my mistake. But that's a good, I haven't programmed in a while on Unity, so that's a good bug to go over, because you may make the same mistake again yourself. So here we are. Let me just, there we go. Let me just start. Oh, forgot about that. Oh, right, and then fade. Okay, there we go. Right, here we are, and then we shooting. And if you see, it's appearing in the middle. See, it's appearing in the middle, right? Actually, let me turn off that gizmo, that way you can see better. Okay, so it's appearing in the middle where it's not supposed to be, right? Sometimes, some of them, right? So that's one bug that we caught. And then also when we turn, you see it's still not, the bullets are not rotating the way they're supposed to be, and they're appearing in the middle, right? So that's one thing that I caught, that I myself made a mistake. So let's look at the, I think, all right. So what we do is we get rid of, don't, if you're using rigid body, don't set the transform position. Meaning is because it's using physics rigid body, and you're not interpolating it correctly. Okay, so that's one issue. So now the other one was, all right, so this is this, and the other one was we are getting the direction incorrectly, right? We were actually mathematically calculating that. uh I'm not sure about, if anybody has a comment about that, please comment on that, right? I'm not sure if you just copy over the transform rotation to it, that way you don't have to do it mathematically. Is it cheaper that way, or it's not cheaper that way? I don't know enough to know if that's it, but if you guys can make a comment on that, I really appreciate it. Right, and correct on that. Hopefully I am correct on that. Maybe make sure. Okay, So okay, so anyway, so this is the way I did it. So let me go back where it was called, right? And then we have the total bullets slam, total bullets muffle. Okay, muzzle, right? So here goes my fire points, right? So the fire points represent. Let me bring this down. That was up. Fade. Okay, the fire points, as you remember, right? When we go to the player, uh, tank, and then the fire points. The fire point is just the where the bullets, the projectiles or anno bullets are gonna be instantiated, right? So, but we made it so we could have an array of these, so we could put them here, 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 wherever you want it. You know, if you want somebody to, if you have a turret gun, you know, turret machine gun up here, you could put it up here. Well, what have you, right? So what I did was instead of calculating the actual rotation of it, I just grabbed the rotation. That's all I did. It's a lazy man way of doing it. If the other way was better, tell me. But that's the way I'm gonna do it, and didn't seem to slow things down at all. Uh, so so what we did, we grabbed the fire points, which is the the muzzles, right? And then uh, we did some modifications with the damage and the offset. We fixed that, right? Deviation, blah blah blah. You don't have to use a unit spear. You don't want to. I prefer a cone. Maybe I haven't got into this code yet as deep as I wanted to. Time constraints, but yeah. So you got the spear deviation, and then we actually grab the object from the object pooler, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of object it is, it's just an object. We're just calling it with the prefab name, pretty much, okay? And then what we do is we do a projectile. We grab the projectile component. This is kind of in CPU heavy though. I really don't like using this, but we'll figure on the later video. We'll figure out how to work with this or make it more efficient and better. Instead of just using get component, I believe we could just use an event bus as we've been doing lately. Okay, all right, and so then we go to launch. Remember, if you remember the code last time, we kind of changed it a little bit. All right. So quaternion is the direction, which will be the rotation, which when we go back here is the muzzle rotation, right? Because rotation is it's just a quaternion. Not that it's just anything is a small feat, but that's what it is. Okay, then we have we set the projectile speed, we set the projectile damage, and we set the lifetime. Okay. Then we set the position, which was the muzzle position, and then we set the rotation, which was the quaternion, and we're just passing on that quaternion information towards that, right? And then we wanted to shoot forward. We don't want it to shoot forward globally. We want it to shoot forward locally, local to its direction, right? So remember, in Unity you have global and location. But when you have, if you're doing linear algebra mathematics, you have a lot more spaces in that. You have the projectiles, projecting space, you have the local, global, local, then you have the projection space, and then you have some other spaces. I forgot what they were. But yeah, so you have some of that. You have to deal with those too. So then we get the forward direction, right? And then we times it by the speed, and then that'll be our linear velocity. Okay, and then we want to stop all associated tasks with it, and then we return it after delay whatsoever, right? So if you see here, now when we press, oh wait, sorry about that. Let's go over that again, sorry. I forgot to, you guys got to remind me if I'm making a mistake here. All right, so let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. So basically, so let's go over it again. We assign the quaternion, right, which is direction. We assign the speed, the damage, and the lifetime, right? Damage is damage, right? Let me go back here one more time. Okay, damage is accumulated. Where is it? damage. No, one more. Right here, right? So the total damage, we get the projectile damage, the current gun damage modifier, which was in the scriptable object, right? And then so then the current projectile modifier, which is also in a scriptable object, right? Then we shoot it, right? And we could also raise an event if we want to. This could go to um, like sound or something else, or score or something like that. Um, Basically, sound, I will attach it to the object, uh, being that it's just easier that way. And then and other stuff, other systems with it, like particle effects, trailing particle effects, things like that, just attach it to the objects. I just find it much simpler that way. And if you wanted to even modify it even more, you can have another system where it'll dynamically put them all together if you want to. But that's more advanced, right? And then so when we get in there, we go back to launch. Oh yeah, so the muzzle the direction will be the muzzle rotation, the projectile speed, the damage, the lifetime, and the muzzle position. Okay, so now when we go in there, it's gonna assign all those that needs to be assigned to that object, that projectile, and then it's gonna go there. And here goes the formula for always going forward to the local direction of the object. Okay. So then we are going to close this out real quick. No, close this out real quick, and we are gonna run the game and see how it works. Okay. Oh, let me turn on the. Okay, so as you can see, we could turn. We're shooting in. We shoot, and the bullets are rotating in the right direction that we want, right? And there we go. We destroyed the object, but we're gonna go over that code right now. But there's several things you have to take account for before you do any of this stuff. All right. So first, all right, you got to make sure the layers are correct. The layers are correct. Okay. So for the player, I made it player. For the projectile, if you go here, projectile prefab, right, right here, right, I made sure that the layer is player bullet. Okay. And then the enemy, I make sure it's also in its own layer called enemies, right? And so you're going to make sure that everything is working correctly by looking at this matrix here. I'm not sure. Let me start another window. You're not able to see it. All right. And so capture, and I want to make sure I see the project, and then I want to see it Windows, and then I want to see it here, and then I want to make sure you be able to see the whole screen, fit to screen. There we go. Okay, so here's the layer metrics, right? So I put the layer player bullet, it's gonna be able to hit enemy. Okay, if that's checked off, and I'm gonna show it to you right now, you won't be able to see it. Oh wait, hold on a second. Yeah, so you see right here, player bullet has to connect to enemies. If we check that off, it won't hit anything. All right, so watch. You'll see it right now. Right, watch. Shoot. It passes right over it. If you see, right over it, right? Okay. But if we set it back to it, I mean, I used to get stuck on that, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? But if I check back, if I check it again and fade to cut here. All right. All right. All right. So once I check it again, and then we run the game. I didn't show it to you, but I just checked it again. It wasn't showing up on the screen. But I just checked it again. Right, and then we go here. Boom. See, it works. So hint of the day, make sure all your layers are correct. All your all your yeah, all your layers are correct, and you have collider boxes with the trigger set or what have you. Just make sure all that. So if you're finding why your stuff is not colliding, maybe that's probably what the issue is. Okay, so let's go back to our code. Okay, so now what was the other issue that we was having? The issue that we was having. Oh yeah, the actual collision, right? So we set um we set the 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 projectile to be a trigger, right? And we could set that here. I'll show you in a minute. In this, yeah, okay. Thank God we could see it. We set that here, over here, and that is collider or trigger. Okay, so now on either or, I chose the projectile. When I ask everybody online and when I ask AI and everybody and all the other forums and stuff like that, everybody says do it this way. So we're doing it this way. On projectile, right? We're gonna set trigger enter, right? On trigger enter, we are going to try. We're gonna get the other collider and we're gonna say try component damageable, right? Reason why we do damageable is because it's an interface, and the interface is a lot less CPU intensive than going through the whole mono behavior. So if that makes sense. Whether interface is really just a pointer and a mono behavior is a reference, which is it's different and it takes up more memory. Okay, one's on the heap or something like that. Something like that. All right. So we want to grab, if the other is a trigger, return, right? So we want it to be a solid object, not a trigger, not a solid collider, right? And again, like I said, we set that here on collider is trigger. When you turn that off, it's no longer a trigger. It's just a plain old collider. All right. So and then we want to grab the component which is damageable. We already explained why we did that. And then we want to out, right, which is going to bring, it's just all it does is just makes it so we can read this right here. All right, and instead of going in and out, it just goes off. It's just a C# feature, right? And then damageable, which is the reference to the take damage um method. Now remember, it's just cool because they say you have tank one that runs its damage different from somebody else's, right? So you may want to have, like, if it's less than 10, run the AI this way. If it's less than 4, run the AI this way. It's just a different way of, I mean, it just makes it so that every object could run its take damage method separately. I'm not separately, differently from any other object of its type. Okay. Then we also go on hit event invoke. If you want to do it like that. Other game object. Okay, invoke other. And then when we're done, we return to the pool, the object pool, because we made it so it's there. We could also say run an explosion, blah blah blah, special effect and sound, right? We want to make sure that the sound is turned on. Okay. All right. And so that's it for that. And then, okay. So that's okay. So that's that's where we're at. Okay. And then, okay. So I also wanted to go back to the scriptable objects, right? So we go back to the scriptable objects, and now on our blaster bullet, since everything's working out fine, on the blaster bullet, we want to hit modifier speed. Okay, so I want speed to be, as you see right now. Speed is just 10, right? So that's our basic default speed, right? And you see it's running very, very nice. So we want to speed it up a little bit. Of course, it'll be 20. We hit 20. All right. Now you want it to get hit by a, you want it to take 2 times to hit. It takes 2 hits for it to be destroyed. We could do that as well. See, the speed is much better, much better. A little bit more natural. As you see here, we still have a bug. It's still appearing here, but at least it's not as overly thing. Well, we could find that now, right? Now our damage, we want to say it takes 2, so we half that by 5 and see what happens here. 1, 2. There you go. So let's do that again. Right. So we got 1, 2. Right. All right. Okay. Perfect. Everything's working out great. Right. Except for that little small bug. Now we could also make it so take damage. Right. So we go. Oh no, not that. So let me see. Let me see. Enemy. What's the enemy? Enemy. Anemones, not enemy. Enemies, right? So when we die, we want to make it so we destroy the object, which is cool, right? Use object pooling instead of destroy for better performance. We could do that, right? So there's a object pooler. Did we? I think projectile was object pooler, right? Poolable, yeah. Poolable. So yeah, poolable. Right, and then we go here. We have to implement the interfaces, which the interface should be down here somewhere now. No, that's wrong. Right. No, that's correct. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Enemy object poolable. All right, poolable. Right, and then we go down here. Die. Spawn from pool. How did I do it in projectile? Spawn from pool. Validate. Validate. Return to pool. Yeah, we just do that. We just copy that over. So we don't have to go through all this drama. Let's see. No. We don't need to care about any of that stuff here. And then we just set to true, right? And then we just return to pool. And we don't die, we return to pool, right? And then see how that works out. Oh, we still, you know what? We want die, but we're just gonna return to pool. Should also be return to pool, but we're just doing that for right now. We should also make the explosion, yeah, but we'll just test it out for right now. Right. Oh, things went wrong. Oh, okay. Oh. And then game return pool. Did I get that wrong? Right, we got it right. Okay, it compiled correct. Yes, it did. Oh, okay. All right. So let's drop that. All right, let's see how it works. Right. Oh, something's going wrong here. So return the pool, die, return the pool, return the pool, and this set to false. Yeah, it should be set to false. Pool, die. Let's just add a stopper there and let's see what's going on. Oh no, I gotta hit it twice, right? That's what happened. All right, that's what happened. 1, 2, there we go. We're up. Okay, and then we get to explode. We explode, and then we go to object pooler, and then going again, and then don't return, poolable. I return to pool. Oh, okay. So on return to pool, return to pool is active. Okay, so the object is okay. Sci-fi tank clone. Oh, the first one was object to return. Oh, okay, I get it. All right. Gotta make sure the name is correct. All right. Enemy tank, and then the object pool enemy tank. Mm-hmm. There we go. I misspelled it. And then enemy tank. I shouldn't really go by that tag, but we should go by the prefab name. And let's try it again. It was off by one character. But don't do that, folks. I mean, just use the prefab name. Just makes things easier. 1, 2, right? So we got our explosion, right? And then we turn up. Okay. Return the pool. Exception handle cause a stack overflow. Oh, it caused a stack overflow. Poolable. Oh, let's see what happens. Why did it cause a stack overflow? We call it recursive. It's not recursive. Instantiate object pooler. Hmm. Poolable. Okay, so return here. We get the tank bullet. This is a tank bullet. We don't need that. Okay. So what we're gonna do is shoot it again one more time and then die, right? We're gonna die because we less than whatever the hit points was. We have to do an explosion, which returns that. Now we have to return the object to the pool, which is us, right? The actual game object, right? Return the pool, right? Okay, return the pool. Now object to return, if it's not no, which is cool, which is the one that we need, enemy tank 2, tank 3, right? So get the component, which is the I poolable. Oh, what are we doing? We call that method too many times. Hold on a second. This is enemy. And then the other one we did was yeah, we called it too many times. Yeah, that's the stuff. Oh, come on. All right. So that's why we call that method too many times. Yeah, you see Stack Overflow. All right. So let's stop it here. Continue. All right. And then stop it here. And let's see how we can fix that, right? So on the enemy, no, we don't need that. On the enemy, we don't need this. On return to pool, we don't need that. If we're dying and we're returning to the pool, why do we need to return to the pool again? All right. So we don't need to call this at all. Pick component, object return to pool. We don't need that. No, we don't. We I was return to pool. There we go. And I actually don't like this because what if that doesn't work, right? We need to know when. Okay, so that's fine. We do that, right? We return to the pool. I want to turn it off when we're actually in the pool. All right. And so things like this is what you got to catch, right? Because a lot of times we want to hurry up and code things and things go wrong, or maybe we're not in the right set of mind and things go wrong. So we're fine. That's why we have debugger, right? So now we back at it again. We shoot once. Why did it stop? We shoot twice. There we go. All right. Okay, we return to the pool. On hit. Hit it again. On die. We return to the pool. Return to the pool is our enemy object. And then we return to the pool. Object to return is that. If that the pool doesn't contain anything with the sci-fi. I know what it is. It's the name. So let's look at the pool, right? So we look at the pool. This is good to look at through value, right? So we have a sci-fi bullet clone, sci-fi bullet clone, sci-fi ultra bullet clone. All right, so something's going on. The bullet. Okay, so all right. So I see what's going on. Bullet, right? So we have sci-fi. Oh, no, enemy tank. Enemy tank 2-3. Right, bullet. Okay, let's just make sure that the object pooler has the. See, things like this is what you got to figure out. You're always gonna have something small, even though it's the easiest thing in the world to build on. But the object pool, you have the ultra sci-fi tank ultra, and then the enemy tank, right? All right. So now we're gonna shoot the enemy tank a couple of times. That's one. That's two. Right. So we are going to die. We are going to. Wait a minute. Did I call the wrong method? Oh no, I did not. Right. Return to pool. Now we're gonna go down in here 2 times. Now return to pool is enemy tank. Oh! Oh, I'm such an idiot. I'm such an idiot. Things like this is what. Why? Okay, you see this? That's the whole name. All right. And so what we really wanted was this name, clone, right? Clone. So that's what that's what we want, right? So what the problem with that is we should really use the tag. And so yeah. So we have several options here. You can either say clone or append postfix with clone, um, or do that, right? So I forgot about that. I forgot that Unity actually postfix things with the word clone on it. So yeah. So see, it postfix everything with the word clone on it, with the with the parentheses. All right, so let's see how this works again. I just want to see it one and then two. All right. So explosion prefab. Right. That's good. Okay, so then we have object. See, what we need is game object name, right? So game object name, which is, right? Am I correct? Okay, so this is not taking name. Okay, so then we go to the pool right here, and then we are looking for the object to return dictionary. Okay, so we are looking for the object that we are, so we see how is right. It contains the value of, okay, we're doing the value, okay, which is not too bad. And yeah, we're doing the value, and then we're doing the object to return is that we're going by value, not by name. Yeah, and then we also, okay, so let's go through this. Okay, so if it's not in there, we're gonna use the tag. All right, so that, yeah, I did do that. I did thought of that. Sorry, got a headache. Okay, we got, okay, so right, so we do have the tag, which is just that, right? Which our tag is set to that, right? Am I right? Object pooler. Oh, we gotta finish this first before we can touch any of that. Tag is just the enemy 2.2 in Q. There we go. Oh, and we forgot to set return. Okay, yeah. Well, no, we can leave that one there, and we can leave this one here. That's it. All right, now we could go. That's why that bullet was still there. Okay. There we go. Now the bullet returns. The bullet disappears because it returns, and now it's gonna disappear. There we go, folks, and that's what we got. All right, that's all I have for today. In about 20 minutes, we're gonna start the limbs of Dev Hour, and don't forget we have Bronx Coffee in the morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I guess that's like 9 or that's 10 in Eastern Time, I think. And then we have the Retro Noon Hour, and then we have the whole cycle starts over again. All right. Shout out to Roaring Lions Muay Thai Gym over in the Bronx. Thank you for the most authentic Muay Thai that I've seen almost anywhere. And then see you guys later then. Okay. Bye.